Hi there. In this video I'm going to discuss with you the tuning and adjustments of parts in CarX Street. For this I will take my Mustang I built for C5 and other classes. I will slowly go through each section in the order in which I usually set up my cars, so hopefully this will be useful to you. So we will start with the wheels. When you go in the wheel section, you have the spacers, you have the selection of the rims, and you have the tires. The only spacers that are worth to get is the ultimate one, because those are the only one that are adjustable, that have the yellow gear icon, okay? So naturally I always go with this. When you go into the adjustment section, you will see that you have the wheel offset parameter. So this parameter is adjustable on ultimate, and it allows you to make your front and rear track wider or narrower, okay? So narrow track is not really useful in this game. It's quite the opposite. You should make your car as wide as you can without ruining the looks or even ruining the looks, because the wider the track, the more your car is stable, and the wider your overall track length on front and rear, the more your car will be resistant to flipping over. Also bear in mind that you can further extend these values with the styling body kit. So the styling body kit that allow your car look wider also increase the maximum spacer offset, because if we look here, for example, I have 13 centimeters maximum value, but if I put a body kit that increases it by say 15, you will see here that it will change to 28. Okay, so it sums up. But on this car it's not really useful because well, first and foremost, the body kits on this Mustang are not really good, not really track oriented, don't change the car looks too much in a good way, so I prefer to keep it stock. Even without the body kit it doesn't flip on the curbs, so this is a win-win. It looks clean and it drives like it should. Okay. The next thing are the rims. So I put the rims just to fit the arch of the car. Nothing like excessive. It's always something from 17 inches to 20 inches. You will see builds in CarX Street that use 21-inch wheels, 22-inch wheels. The bigger the wheels, the more advantage in the speed you have. It's somewhat bugged to an extent, because if you use a car with 22-inch wheels, you will clearly be faster on the straight, in the corners, but if you use 22-inch wheels, the looks of most of the cars will be just ruined, okay? So this is what is called a tractor build. So here I have 305 on the front, 325 on the rear, and then we have the tires. So you have racing tires by default. You can switch them to stretch tires. I like a bit more stretch tires. There's no really a difference. If it's how to put it, I think my personal experience is that stretch tires seems to be more snappy and a bit more agile, but a bit with a bit less of grip. But it's really hard to say if it's just not my placebo effect. Okay, maybe I'm just that wrong, and all they do is to change your car visually. Okay, so choose what you like. This is not something that will affect too much your performance. Just try it out to see the difference if you can. So also bear in mind that when you the combination of your rims and tires add to the overall diameter of your wheel. So for example, if we just take a look here, okay, so let's say this is the diameter. So if you put, for example, a lower profile, okay, your effective diameter will be it will be lower, okay? So just bear this in mind when you adjust your car, because this will affect your transmission final drive, okay? So when you change wheels, your real final drive will change a bit, okay? Because it's just in the equation. So, but I'm not gonna go into details. Just bear that in mind. So, for example, if you put bigger wheels, you have to make your gearing a bit shorter, or vice versa. If you put smaller wheels, you have to make your final drive a bit longer to compensate. Otherwise, you will just reduce or increase your final drive if you don't touch the transmission. Okay, and here in the adjustment section you have, of course, the pressure. the pressure, well, just put it on the 3. There's no downsides of going lower. Sorry, I put it wrong. So there is a downside of going lower, but there is no downsides at going at 3 bar. Okay, so this is the sweet spot. Just put it at 3 and don't touch it. And that's pretty much it for the wheels. Okay, the next section will be not the suspension. The next section will be the body. Because if you adjust the suspension, you will adjust it accordingly to your unchanged weight, and then when you add or remove weight in the body section, you will have to redo the suspension, so it's just easier to start from the body right away. Okay, so you have the swap menu. The swap menu allows you to change the body stages, so they greatly reduce your weight. This is useful if you wanna just, you know, make a super light car. And then you have car weight reduction, which allows you for a balance of performance. So you can either increase a bit of weight or decrease it. It's just a fine tuning of the weight. You also have the weight distribution, which is really important. You can either decide to put a bit of more weight on the front or on the rear. Center of mass height. Well, this is something that should be as low as possible normally, okay, for the optimal handling. Okay, so car weight reduction. Fuel tank. That's a useful upgrade. It switches a bit of the weight of the car to the rear. So okay, it adds up weight on the rear. So in some case scenarios, you will see that this number, which corresponds to the percentage of the weight on the rear, will increase when you put a bigger fuel tank. Okay, bigger fuel tank means more autonomy. So this is useful, for example, if you're doing time attacks, you don't have to go to the pump station and refill the gas. Then you have the front aero. Well, I tend to put front aero on the max. I don't see any purpose of going lower than ultimate, and I always max out those two values. So this is the downforce on the front and air resistance to be as low as possible. Okay, so don't confuse this slider. For some reason it's in the opposite direction, so it starts from here and you have to drag it to the left. A bit of counterintuitive, provided that all of the other values of the aero just go to the right. Okay, and then you have the rear aero. Okay, the rear aero is a bit more tricky, so here you really have to adjust the pressure on the rear of your car. So just look at the aero that provides you with the least air resistance and allows you to get the desired downforce. Okay, so for example, here I have a value of 40.25. okay, if I go and try to put the sport, it will not allow me. So sport rear aero is not adjustable anymore, so I will be stuck here with this value of 38. Okay, this is not good, this is not what I need. Okay, I can also use the elite one and obtain the same values. For example, 40 point, well, it's something close. Okay, but you will see that on some cars, when you switch the rear aero for a bigger one, you lose a bit of max speed. Well, it's not the case here, but in the most cases, like you see, the air resistance here is 2.03, and if I put racing, it's 2.01. So it's more advantageous to put rear aero that's lower on the class. In the CarX Street, let's talk about the weight. It's preferable to put your weight as low as possible, because the cars usually brake better, handle better, accelerate better, but lowering too much your weight will not allow you to put any engine mods, and you will not have enough power, so your car will be really underpowered. In some cases you will not be able to compensate with the good handling, especially if the track has a lot of straights. You will just be cooked. Okay, an optimal weight is somewhere let's say between 1 ton and 300. Okay, so if you go higher than this, you will most likely suffer from the handling problems. Your car will not be so agile anymore. At this weight, the current weight I have on a Mustang, it's pretty manageable. It's a bit, you feel a bit more inertia when you swerve the car, when you brake. but it's manageable. Okay, it's manageable. You don't really have to go lower, because otherwise, as I said, you'll be underpowered. And the weight distribution, okay, this is one is really useful slider. Like it doesn't seem to adjust a lot, but it's really useful. Okay, so on cars like this, for example, rear-wheel drive, it's preferable to have more weight on the rear axle to increase traction. But then there's the question, why, if it's so useful, why did I put it on 52 on the front and 48 on the rear when I could just go 50-50? Well, the answer is simple. It's because if you put too much weight on your rear axle, your car just will not handle that good anymore. You increase your understeer. It's the same effect if you increase too much your rear downforce. The too much rear downforce will just not allow you to rotate your car that good anymore. You need the weight to shift forward when you brake or when you leave off the gas, okay? When you put a lot of weight on the rear, that's not possible anymore, okay? This is why cars like Honda NSX, all the Porsches, they all suffer from some sort of understeer. Not to say that you cannot fix it, but it's just better when there is no such problem from the start, and you can just focus on increasing other values, like increasing or decreasing other values in your suspension, instead of trying to fix this issue. Okay, there's nothing wrong of putting the weight on the front of the car. In fact, all the front-wheel drive cars benefit from a bit more weight on the front, not excessively, but in CarX you cannot overload front axles of the front wheel drive cars. So you will most likely end up with values like 62 on the front, 63, maximum like 66, still manageable. But on such front engine rear-wheel drive layout, this is pretty good, like 54, 46, 53, 37, 47, sorry. So that's why I put some weight on the front from the start.